Hello, YouTube. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I hope I didn't blow anyone's eardrums out with that. Yeah, for those of you guys that are curious, sorry, I was a little distracted there. We're gonna go ahead and get started with like MT episode 5. Please comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Have good discussion posts. Do not try and I just got off a huge rant. I'm sorry for like all the everyone on Twitch about like, I haven't read the novels. We're going through this episode by episode. Do not spoil. Please, for the love of God, don't spoil. If you're a spoiled ass Andy, if you guys see a comment that's a spoiler that doesn't have a spoiler tag on it, please just keep saying spoiler, 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 spoiler on the comments until it gets rectified, because I don't want to get spoiled. That will take away from my experience. Luckily, I do have a group of mods and admins that go like, they read through the comments and they take care of it, and it really, really helps out. Yeah, that's yeah. Just stop with the spoilers. But if you guys want to have a good discussion points, have those good discussions. Learn, grow, have the time to evolve. To go in as deep as you want to go in. If it comes to a discussion point, just be respectful. Number one thing. Other people can have different opinions than you, and that's okay, even if you think they're wrong. Be respectful of other people. And aside from that, yeah. Let's just go ahead and jump into it.
ギレーヌさん、父様から。
ギレーヌでいい。さんはいらん。は
あ。
読め。私は読めんから口に出してな。
Oh, bro. What are we? And with the intro and everything, it's been like 20 seconds. Guess who got a letter? Guess who got a letter? Apparently Rudius did, which fucking sucks. But no, what I was gonna say is like, even though she seems like she has this like hard exterior, based on the fact that like the communication aspect, the fact that they're, this is me just guessing based off of that reaction. How high or how low do you guys think the literacy rate is in this world? Yeah, Master, I will theorize literally off of just, and it's based, in case you guys are like, oh, this guy's a wizard, or like, I'm not a wizard, I'm using literally psychology practices, but you guys also have to understand, I am literally looking at this through like the frame of view, like that we're being shown, So, like one of the big points there is, for example, if let's say Dollar Store Pinata, one of the chatters in Twitch, was in Rudia's shoes, and I was in the carriage, I'd probably be like, hey, you know what? Well, it turns out that your dad decided that you were going to go ahead and have a situation with us, and this is probably the best way, for me to go ahead and do this, and blah 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 blah, right? Because you're in a position of power. Being in that position of power, being in the situation where you're sort of like the danger one, it's interesting to point that out. It's like, I wonder if just because this individual is there to pick him up, if she's in a position of power, or in a position of power with not just like necessarily strength, but in a position of power with, say, knowledge, literacy, communication skills. And like instantly, like for me, that would trigger something. It's like, you want to read it out for me? Like, what's up? Usually someone in a position of power would be like, hey, yo, your dad this, your dad that. So so yeah, I'm just wondering, if it's a possibility that like literacy is like not the greatest at that point in time, or if like there, because for example, if you're a child, right, and we're not going to go that far, like even in Latin American countries there were still a lot of child soldiers for a good period of time, and when they grew up, their literacy was pretty abysmal, but that's due to the fact that like everything that happened, growing up, literacy and knowledge wasn't primarily their main area of focus, you know? And this is, by the way, this is me thinking as a psychologist, literally linking things through for you guys, using the sociological imagination that we explained in episode 2, and some of the other theories that we've talked about, psychological principles. So, like, that's sort of one of my biggest concerns, areas of, like, wonder or whatnot, is, like, how much of an impact will this have on you? So, make it, take it, explode it. Let's explode this shit. It's a worldwide scenario. A meteor comes to Earth and wipes out 90% of the population. Or a god gets angry and all of a sudden, poof, like, you know, Minecraft, a bunch of people just like suddenly disappear, die, turn away, or something like that. If the literacy rate and knowledge and understanding of the writing system and complexities of it is not there, tell me, how can you report how many people have passed away? And this is just in a general overview of like how a kingdom can operate. Or how many people are missing, or how many people don't have water, or how many people, only the nobles and those in positions of power more than likely will have access to literature. You know? Can have access to certain events. So if you're talking about like people in positions of power having, say, a literacy rate or being able to actually read and write, how many people would go, say, in an event of a mass extinction, how many people would go unreported, unaccounted for? Or specifically, like in a state where we don't even got to go mass extinction, we can go like state level or city level. You know, if a city were to just like disappear or everyone just drop dead, but like only the nobles or the people in positions of power have that ability to read and write, can you trust that count? And that is huge when it comes to world building, when it comes to population setting, when it comes to, even as a psychologist, if I have an individual that comes in and they don't have the ability to be able to express themselves properly in a language, you know how many barriers that sets up? Like, granted, you can talk to me in Spanish, English, German, Dutch, 101 languages, and like I might be able to pick up some things. But let's say that you lost your ability to speak fluently, that is. What happens then? How would you be you? Would you change? Or, you know, how would you, for example, try and say complex emotions if you don't have the resources to them to express how you feel? You see, that's where the danger lies. And that's why it's super important to go ahead and bring up something. Sorry, guys, we're like 30 seconds in. Oh no. Oh no, no, no.
そこにいるのはその間の帰宅手紙などの一切の接触を禁じる。なんだと？
なぜならお前がシルフィエットに依存し始めているように感じたからだ。それはあの子にとっても良くないと判断した。やってく。
What a fucking idiot, dude. Well, what a... And worst parent award goes to... What the fuck, dude? So, in case you guys don't know, a majority of us, aside from being Homo sapiens, were Homo ludens, which is essentially those that play, individuals that play. Yeah, especially if you're like 7, 8 years old, you know, 9 years old, 10 years old, you're at the time and age where you play is such an important factor in the way that you're allowed to go ahead and set up boundaries and set up the rules, set up rules and expectations, which are also set when you're a little kid growing up. And this is a prime example of someone who, like a lot of parents, like a lot of parents do, where they're like, they set all these expectations on you, but just because, if an adult has trauma, and this is even if you're an adult and you're watching this, you know, if you have trauma, do not transfer or project your trauma onto your kids. Please get help. please even talk about it with your partner or with whoever, because at one point in time, if you literally start isolating, say that like, for example, when someone in my family at a very young age, he had to distance himself from essentially the main core group of the family because they were rather toxic, whatever. So he ran away. That doesn't mean that like at 7, 8, 9 years old, you're going to tell your kid to go away and become mature and become independent. How does that develop a safety net? No, in fact, it can develop a net of hatred. It can literally develop a net in which it doesn't allow someone to grow properly and heal properly and whatnot. Right. So say this is exactly why breakups are so important at a young age. Well, it's not just breakups like romantically. I mean, breakups in friends, breakups in, even like ruptures and repairs. That's what we call them in psychology, with family and whatnot. Because if you get in arguments, i.e., I bet you know what triggers your mother. I bet you know what triggers your father or your siblings. I bet you know exactly what those triggers are and how you can get to them. Right? How do you know what your triggers are if you don't experience a constant state of rupture and repair in a healthy environment? How do you know what that is, i.e., so say that like I was having an argument with my brother. Let's pretend. And like, it's a rupture and repair. But let's say it got to the point where like it's my first interaction with him. I'm 7 years old. We have this huge argument. I leave. I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna go find my own way in life at 7 years old, 8 years old. I become an adult thinking that out of every engagement or argument, I have to leave my environment, my safety net, to try and become something new or another individual. What happens if I get into a romantic relationship and there's a rupture? Think this through. What happens if I start finally trusting, being open and vulnerable and emotionally there for someone and caring and all of this shit, and things go south? Guess, chat. What happens? You're healthy. You open up to someone. You're extremely vulnerable to a partner and they break up with you, or you catch them cheating or something, and that shit fucking stings and it takes a while for you to heal. But now imagine somewhere where you don't have a secure attachment or even a decent amount of attachment. You can even say it's like ambiguous at best. What the fuck do you think will happen? You're going to develop a trauma, and everything's going to be out of a trauma-seeking response. You can probably isolate yourself. A bad breakup can cause you to have ED, can cause you to go ahead and like, literally distance yourself, make your communication to like a certain point. Try to prove, if you're a man, there's a lot of cases where a bad breakup can literally call, like, especially if you believe in like the whole machismo or like trying to prove yourself like a man, where you will literally be stuck in a violent cycle of failure over and over and over again, because there's this innate thing inside of your brain that's telling you, hey, you know what? You're better than this. You should do better. You have to do this. You have to do that. But you can't, because guess what? You have a fucked up attachment that needs to be worked on. So rupture in a healthy environment, i.e., knowing for a fact that if you get in an argument with say if you're a kid, with your brothers, your parents aren't just going to like drop you off in the middle of the fucking forest and be like, find your way back. Rupture in a healthy environment is, i.e., having a discussion with your significant other about boundaries and being like, hey, you know what? I don't like the fact that like you were hitting on this girl last night. I kind of found that disrespectful. And like, what can we do going forward? What don't you like? Let's talk about that. That's a rupture. And then the repair process is literally being like, hey, you know what? Okay, I totally get it. Why don't we come up with something that can definitely help? Rupture in healthy environments, totally possible. i.e., sometimes even at work, there can be a lot of toxic environments at work. Don't get me wrong. But like, you get in an argument with your boss. Sometimes it can be really chill. Your boss is down to earth and be like, hey, you know what? I fucked up. I'm sorry. Other times they can try and make it, if it's a toxic environment, they'll make your life a living hell until you quit or something. So rupture in a healthy environment is being free and open to like have those disagreements and not feel pressured, if that makes sense.
思うところはたくさんあるが今はこれでよしよかったシルフィは一人ぼっちになるかもしれないが自分の問題は自分の力で解決しなければいつも
That's where that frame of thinking is incorrect as well. I don't know how else to put it out there, but like, if you're unable, and sorry, I'm thinking about this because it's such an idiotic fucking statement. If you're an introvert, okay, codependency, strong codependency is mostly an issue in adulthood. As a child, codependency is seen as, anyone guess? Attachment framework. So when people try, in friendship, when people try and be like, oh, it's because she's going to be too codependent of Rudius and she's not going to be able to grow. Guess what? A majority of you guys, if you guys had a secure attachment and good environment and a healthy environment for you to grow and live in, you guys would be making friends, expressing it, going through rupture and repair. Sometimes, and the majority of the times, we find friends that are more extroverted. So that way, you know, if you're introverted in nature, you grow from your excursions with them. Taking that away, say that they just took him away. Well, that's the thing, is through friendship, and that this is where people think, oh yeah, no, she's just gonna learn and be independent. Not necessarily. What you're literally doing is causing trauma. If say that you're married, say that you have a partner, or say that you have someone like a really, really close friend. If I took you right now off of this instant and just sent you away, what happens? Not out of your choice, out of my choice. What do you think will happen? You will more than likely be fucking hurt. Especially if your friend or your partner doesn't know about it. I just grabbed you and I just threw you away, and I was like, yeah, you went off. You just went off, you know, you went off on vacation or work or some other excuse. There's gonna be a lot of resentment. There's gonna be a lot of wondering why. There might be a lot of what I call pedestal work. And this is so key. The way that you work, sure, as a kid, there's no such thing. As a kid, it's called attachment framework. As an adult, this is adults that don't have good attachments, that don't have the ability to go ahead and have that framework already set, you know, i.e., as a kid, you can have an anxious attachment, and a lot of people view that as codependent. But having an anxious attachment means that, one, the environment might just not be right for you. There might be some, you know, bullying. Your parents might not be necessarily be there for you at the time that you need it, so on and so forth, you know. But the point that I'm getting at is, as an adult, if you don't have time to work on that as an adult, one whose brain has already formed and is logically able to process information such as what attachments are healthy and not healthy, say even 18. I'll give it 18 through 25, you know, once we're out of the attachment range age. If you're not able to go ahead and process who you are, what you want, what you don't like. And this is why, like, as a kid and even in high school, they tell you, hey, you know what, when you get into a relationship, that's not going to be your only partner. That's not going to be your first and only, like, relationship, so on and so forth, because you're discovering yourself. You're in that area of, like, you know what, how much can I depend on this person? How much can I fuck up? What can I do? What is boundary setting? What is so on and so forth? Even as a big person. So a lot of people tend to confuse and tend to put their own narrative spin on it to try and justify behavior like this, right? And that's automatically what I saw, like, I don't know how to put it. What I've seen done in other animes and stuff like that, where it's like individuals who are too young, and they get placed into this role of like, oh, well, she was just codependent, so it had to happen. And it's like, she's like 8, bro. She doesn't even know what that is. Now, if you were taking, like, you were saying, oh, it's because her parents think that she's going to grow to become too codependent. Then, first off, now as a psychologist, what I'm wondering is, what does the environment look like? What does your friendships look like? What does the situation at home look like? Is she being bullied by other people? What's so on and so forth, if you guys are getting it. Because I bet you, say that Rudius returns, or Rudius stays there. And I'm going to go into pedestal work. Please remind me. Say that Rudius stays there. What do we get if more people are added onto this team? So here's the thing. Codependency is quite literally relying on another person. Interdependency is like pinging. I guess that's probably the best way that I could put it. I.e., if you're codependent on someone, if you're fully dependent on someone, then you're not making your decisions for yourself. You're like, all your decisions can only be based on someone else's decision making. If you're interdependent, or if you're I guess mixed, it's just literally pinging, i.e., I wonder what your opinion is on this particular thing, or if they take an action and you don't like it, you might go along with it, but then you'll actually be able to speak up without necessarily going through anything. But anyway, well, fuck, what was I saying? That completely threw me off topic for a bit. Oh yeah, if more people were introduced into this friendship group, let's say that Rudius returned, or Rudius is like, I don't want this job, whatever. What do you think would change? Sure, Rudius doesn't leave. Rudius stays there with Sylphie, and more people come into this like group, this friendship. Well, Rudius is going to be Rudius. Yes, but what specifically changes now on Sylphie's side? Since people are so fucking worried about codependency. Yes, exactly. She doesn't only have one friend. She has the ability to grow and talk to other individuals, and she might even start picking up leadership skills, or i.e. the extroverted qualities that Rudius might have, and start using them on new people that are entering the group cycle. And this is why these ages are so important to have friends. It's so important to have attachments. It is so important for kids to be able, which is why you might hear often, like, especially if like, you often moved from city to city or town to town as a kid, that they'd like, a lot of those kids have their guards up because they're like, oh, I might only be here for a little bit. So on, so important, so on and so forth. Friends are really important at a young age, because that's sort of what you start learning with, like, as I said before, boundaries, rule setting, so on and so forth. Attachments are key. Super duper important. Pedestal setting. Now that we can get back to it. If you and your partner were together, your kids, or even as adults, if I were to go ahead and grab you and just like make you disappear, there might be a lot of resentment at first, right? Because that's one of the stages. You guys have to remember there are 4 stages in case of a big traumatic event: fight, flight, fawn, or freeze. Yeah. So in the fighting aspect, there's probably going to be a lot of resentment. In the flying aspect, they might just completely destroy the relationship, not feel anything move. The fawning aspect, and this is where it can be really critical to think about. You can be put on a fucking pedestal, because guess what? Their knowledge of who you are as a person only exists for this time period. So they might not have gotten to see enough shitty sides of you to lower you back down to earth, if that makes sense. So, if let's say that like my partner disappeared, or my partner was taken away from me, or something like that, and I see them again and I'm fawning, I might literally think that they're the greatest thing on earth since sliced bread. Like, I might also take on the role, especially if fawning, and like, let's say that it's Kraith, for example. Let's say that Kraith has become a super dark, like, person. If I am fawning, if I'm 100% fawning, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to be like, hey, I will heal that for you. Hey, let me take care of this for you. Let me be your ray of sunshine in your little life type of bullshit. But that's the point. The point that I'm getting at is that, like, if you fawn, you will literally try and take on too much, But like, even if I try and push in all this like expectation through my own beliefs or like, you know, being the ray of sunshine and Kraith's life, what does that do for Kraith? Let's say that Kraith wasn't ready for me to come back and be a part of his life or something. What do you think will happen? This is why it's important for you guys, and this is, and I keep saying it, you know, be aware of your own judgments, be aware of your own pedestal settings, be aware of everything. Because say that, like, you know, I try and do all of this and I'm bonding hard, I'm trying to do everything right and be a lovely individual. And look, Grace, I even got you a little thing, you know, like, oh, a little penguin. And like, look, Grace, like, you know, and I'm like trying to be there and everything for him. Kraith, at first, you know what? Like, hey, you're amazing. You might feel some sort of responsibility for me in that regard. You're trying your best. You know what? You've cared for me when no one else has cared for me because of my attachments. Oh, you know, it might be all of this like mirroring this big mirror. But let's say that a random AZ pops up, and AZ is fucking smoking hot, right? Kraith has not done a single work of processing and emotional regulation to become a stoic individual. Guess what? Guess what'll happen? Kraith hasn't done a single work. You know, he's just been reflecting the fawning back to me, and maybe he's attached. Maybe, I don't know, 1,001 things. But AZ is there. AZ's fucking hot. AZ's giving Kraith a little bit of attention on the side. What do you guys think? What would happen? I will feel inferior. No, if Kraith hasn't done any processing work, what will more than likely happen is, you want to hook up? Jealousy. Yeah. Yeah. Why? Because are you reciprocating my emotions? Or are you feeling guilty or, you know, reflecting my emotions essentially like a mirror because you haven't processed everything that of like, say, your traumas, the good, the bad, everything that's happened to you. And now that, like, say, AZ, or you know what, let's say that Algis comes in as like a significant other of your past before Super Fawner me. Now you have like 3 different people. So this is why when I talk about attachment settings, this is why it is super fucking critical that you acknowledge, for example, hey, you know what? I may be a little anxious when it comes to uh when it comes to like, you know, when I see my partner with other people, and maybe I should bring it up and have a conversation about like boundary setting, or maybe I should communicate that I'm not comfortable with them hanging around with these individuals. Maybe we should just have a general conversation about like, you know, communication is key. And that's exactly what I'm getting at. Communication, boundary setting, having your attachments, knowing if you are either processing or if you're waiting. Like, some people have this weird hero complex where their partner's going to be their hero in their life and their partner's magically going to fix everything instead of them trying to work on themselves and work through their trauma and shit. Sorry, guys. That was really long-winded. I apologize.
いつまで経っても成長できない。俺もそれに甘えていてはダメなのだ。決して未練はないぞ。うん。でも1年に1回ぐらいは会いたいな。
No. Damn.
獣人だらけ。ギレーヌといい、この世界じゃそんなに珍しくないんだろうか。
Boys. Gentlemen and ladies as well. Are we going to another world? For the how shall I put it? and everything in between. Yeah, shall we all just get isekai one day, please? No, here's the thing. Logically speaking, I know I'm joking, right? But then logically speaking, something fucking terrifies me about this aspect. Like, as much as, like, I think cat ears are cute and tails and all of that, I think we're absolutely fucking cute and whatnot. But there's something that fucking absolutely deep down, fuck me. There's something deep down to my core that terrifies me. Can anyone take a guess? I really want to know what your guys' opinion is. What do you think I'm fucking scared of about being isekai'd? And I might be the most irrational fucking fear. Not claws. I can deal with the claws. I'm definitely getting cat ears. Bro, okay. In a single species. Oh, not even that, brother. In a single species, we have so many diseases that we can get from interactions, sexual interactions and whatnot. Now imagine... Yeah. Now imagine what that would mean in a wide spectrum of beast people in a medieval setting. What could that mean for you? Bro, that... Oof. At first I was like, this is how like my brain is thinking very, very dark and logically and whatnot. So like my biggest fear is not rabies. It's not any of that. It is quite literally getting getting a weird fucking sexual disease that no one has ever heard of because of that. Oh man. Yeah, fuck, dude. Fuck.
5年間ここでお嬢様に勉強を教えれば魔法大学への入学金を援助してもらえると。
それだけ？
うん。
まったくあいつは相変わらず。
Aw.
まあいい。とにかくまずは娘に会わせよう。話はそれからだ。そのとしてすごく優秀だそうじゃないか。
師匠の指導の賜物です。
随分とできたことを言うね。可愛い娘がたぶらかされないか心配だよ。
Sorry, I have come back to the earthly realm of my eyes. Guys. Here's my real fucking question for y'all. If you are applying modern day knowledge, please. If you are, yeah, I got fucking sent. If you are applying to a university right now, what is the first thing you should look at? And you can't pay for it, by the way, out of pocket at the moment. What is the first thing you look at? Anyone want to take a guess? I know, because I just got done with university a couple of years ago, and I remember what that whole fucking ordeal was. But aside from cost, you already know the cost. Like, it costs a shit ton of money. So what do you look at now? Free universities? Great. I'll tell you what I'd look at. Scholarships. Logically speaking, you like a university. Yeah, you like a university. It costs a lot of money, but you might be really talented at an aspect. You might have good opportunities. You might even have connections with, can get a letter of introduction or something. I bet you anything you can get a fucking scholarship. And like, honestly, Masters, yeah, honestly, like, my whole point with that is like, I wonder why, like, I would have reached out to Roxy. I would have reached out to like other people, been like, hey, Dad, who can you put me in contact to try and get a letter even or something, trying to claim who I am, the abilities that I may have, so on and so forth, Is this a potential way of maybe not doing work? Yeah, maybe. But I think if you're someone from, let's say that in Rudius's past life, she was a poor American, we'll put it this way, or a middle class American. I'm pretty sure that like the first thing that would have come to his mind if it was like, hey, you're going to a university, would have been like, yo, where the scholarships at? Student debt, bro. Let's go. Actually, bro, student debt sucks. I have student debt, and I even got a really, really good scholarship, and I'm still really in debt. But still, let's go. I don't expect much.
実際に会ってみないとわかりませんが。
エリス、新しい先生を連れてきたよ。
Is that a
何よ、年下じゃないの。年は関係ないと思いますけど。何？私に文句あるわけ？でもお嬢様は僕ができることができないわけです。え？生意気よ。私を誰だと思ってるの
I can't even roll out as a person of time. I've returned with the cooler head. My brain just got a little overloaded almost immediately. The return of the psychologist. First off, redheads have a special place in my heart in general, but the reason why I left, if he becomes her teacher, do you guys see what I'm getting at? Do you guys get what I'm getting at? Like, we just had a whole talk about attachments. We had a whole talk about power dynamics, and it's barely been 6 minutes. But can you guys understand why my brain just rushed and I had to like step out for a second? But thanks for the question, Mamsie. I don't believe it. Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. That's my degree, bro. I'm also, as I said, I've also literally like I'm a therapist full time. 1, power dynamics. 2. Okay, I'll let the scene play out a little bit more. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just fucking wrong here. I know, dude. Let's see.
なんで殴るんですか？年下のくせに生意気だからよ。これで人に殴られる痛みがわかります。
Thanks, you. Literally, I was asking the question, okay, what if he slaps her? You know how Paul was talking about attachments or like not becoming too codependent? He'll be destroyed. What a frame to stop on, yeah? So the reason why I stopped there and the reason why my brain freaked the fuck out instantly, especially with kids, individuals who put up these giant ass fucking walls immediately, right? Who can even like talk down to you, who whatever, can be some of the most codependent motherfuckers out there, but can also be some of the quickest to rationalize the fact that they are becoming too close to someone. And this is exactly what I'm throwing out there. I worked, you know, when I was doing therapy, especially when I was working with kids more specifically, because I still do therapy. I still do, like, I just work with parole and adult populations at the moment. But when I was working with kids, the number one thing that would come out of this is like, you know, you'd be talking to them, they'd be going through all of this. And it's like, you know, especially if they were like tough kids at first, it'd be like, what the fuck do I got to talk to an old man? And it's like, first off, I ain't that old. The second off, you know, like, I'm sorry your mom had you when she was 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Like, point being, like, you don't, like, you can rationalize, you can see how someone can become quickly angered, their power dynamics, how they're using their tone of voice, what their intentions are behind it, how they try and do certain things. With those kids in particular, I remember that like they would like start processing information Like, they'd be like, oh, cool. Like, you're not giving up on me as a therapist. You're not switching to another therapist immediately. Hmm. And then it'd be like, I'm going to tell you a little bit of information. But if you tell, I'm going to be angry. And it's like, go ahead. Who am I going to tell? My dog? Please, feel free. So, when they opened up, when they started processing, they would get scared. And what is the first thing that people do when they're scared and they might have power dynamic issues? They might be, say, even avoidant attachment. That's what a lot of these kids are. Anyone care to take a guess? If you are avoidant attachment, you have power issues, you're opening up, you're starting to become vulnerable, and you may even start being a little respectful in that case once you start opening up. But it's too much and you start processing information, and this is the first time that you're handling something. What happens? A mistake. Great, absolutely right. So you have to remember, like, the 4 stages of like any big thing that may happen in your life. You're either gonna fight it, you're gonna fly, you're gonna run away, or yeah, you're gonna flee, you're gonna fawn, or you're gonna freeze. Be angry for no reason. That too. But like, that that's that's essentially the 4 stages that you guys can always think about with any interaction. What am I gonna do with this? Am I gonna face it head on? Or am I going to face it in general? Am I going to run away? Am I going to just stop, pretend that like it's happening, but I'm just going to freeze? Like nothing's going to happen there? Am I going to suck up? Because that's another opportunity. So, yeah. And like, especially as kids, when like, this is like the time and place when you're supposed to get control of your emotions. You're supposed to learn like the rules of play, the rules of engagement, the rules of respect, especially with adults and stuff. Like, where does that come in,
喋れないと唱えられないんだ。
一芝居打ってみてはどうでしょう。お嬢様に自発的に勉強をしたいと思わせるんです。
ほう、詳しく聞かせてくれ。協力なら惜しまないよ。
What would I do? Like if I was in Rudius's shoes, or if I was in like the girl's shoes? Or what are you talking about? Like to get her to study? If it's to get her to study, she might. This is me being this is the dark side of being a psychologist. You can probably pick up on people's triggers. Just based off of the power dynamics that were introduced earlier when she was going off of like, just instantly punching him and whatnot. What I would do if I had the capabilities of Rudius at this point in time is I would completely dominate her with magic in terms of like, either show her how cool it is and how she can't do it, and being able to use that as a trigger point to being like, if you really want to learn, you're gonna have to take my instructions. If you can't take my instructions at this point, then how do you think you will learn to grow and become a better adult in that case? If for some reason they didn't fall for that trigger, the next trigger point that I would go for, and this might be a little fucking shady, is quite literally attachments. If that doesn't work, so that she's like, I don't care if you pick on my dad or my mom or anyone. I don't know. Power dynamics would say questioning her looks would probably piss her off, which is number one. Questioning her intelligence would also be an interesting way to try and push certain things. Of course, you could do it through an empathetic lens, i.e., get them to learn in that regard. But sometimes when, like, for example, if I'm fighting someone, is it like in martial arts or whatever, and they're significantly better than me, like, I literally will be like, huh, all right, can you teach me how you did that? Like that way I can improve and become better and be able to like stand my own, But yeah, evil psychologist would be like, huh, screw the empathetic lens at this point. Like once they assault you, everything's off the trigger. But that's probably what I would do. What would you guys do? Throw your chancla, grab the chancla, grab your shoe, and go after them and be like, "You're gonna learn today." Kidding.
わかりました。ではお願いしたいのですが。
He just planned something stupid, didn't he? He just planned something fucking stupid, didn't he? Oh my gosh, okay.
なんだてめえ。
いい演技力だ。
臭い近寄らないで私は誰だと思って
何ちゅ
This episode, this show, this main character, these decisions. So, I told you to watch Bad, buddy. No, so you're telling me, you're literally telling me they actually got kidnapped. You mean to? But I mean, coming, and I'm trying to be empathetic. No, coming from the mindset of someone whose previous life he was probably stuck inside majority of the time. You might think, I don't know, being a white knight might be the answer to this, if that makes sense. I don't fucking, okay.
力を失いしかの者に再び立ち上がる力を与えヒーリングちゃんと直しなさい
Real question for you. I don't. Does the healing fix the broken teeth, or does it only stop bleeding? Ooh.
力がはっきりわからない以上、それは危険だ。それにお嬢様に結局は暴力だと思われてしまうのも良くない。後でずっと殴られる羽目になってしまう。まあいい。どちらにせよ、俺のやることは変わらない。
それでは僕は死にたくないので逃げます。さよなら。
Yeah, because this thought process, I'm losing it a little bit because this thought process comes exactly from like the mentality of someone who thinks shit is going their way when it's not. Like, who after witnessing such a brutal display would think that this is all acting? Oh, 100%. They're fucking phenomenal thespians. 100% thespians. Like, fuck, dude.
あいつらを倒せばいいじゃないですか。
Say that they do escape. This is what my mind is processing. Say that they do fucking escape. Say that they go through and there's a bunch of people, and like, turns out they're not actors, it's real, they got kidnapped, everything. What the fuck does this do? Anyone care to guess? If you're an individual and you just got white knight, or you just got white knighted, aside from trauma's here. Trauma's already here. Trauma's already happened. She got beat the fuck up. Trauma already happened. What happens? I mean, if you find out that this was planned, sure. But say that you don't find out that this is planned. Boom. Thank you. You're talking about really, really weird attachment with weird power dynamics that will form because he saved you. When someone steps up to the plate, yeah, you'll do interesting things. The best way to. So if a relationship like this were to continue, say that like Okay. Say that we were like, how do I phrase this properly? Like, I'm trying to phrase it normally, like to help. Say that you have a friend who's really, really good at soccer, and you've been getting into soccer, and you've been playing with them for a good while. Let's say that they become really, really close throughout these 5 years. But like, Masters, we'll wait until we get there. Yeah, just wait, dude. Yeah. Also, I kind of need to rest. But like, say that you have a friend that you play too much soccer with, and they're really, really good, like almost professional level. What happens after a while? Or a video game, and they're just like Super Smash Bros. And they're fucking next level shit. Anyone want to take a guess? I open it up to you guys. Sure. Sure. What if, say that you're playing Super Smash Bros. In a party setting? Yep, yep, yep. Exactly. If it grows up, yeah, you can either give up, right? You can put them on a pedestal, which is totally normal. Definitely, yeah. So you guys can tell. It can put you on a pedestal. It can also, how do I put this? For example, it can drive you to try and become better, but not through the means of ways that you've had. So if I have a friend that's a fucking pro at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and I just like, I'm feeling inferior, I'm feeling like a dumbass, whatever, I might literally play with Brady until I get sufficiently good enough to play with my friend again, or be better than them, or so on and so forth. And that's why, like, if you guys have ever like gone into like a professional sport or whatever, they'll always try and put you within the same class, i.e. black belts with black belts, white belt with white belts, yellow belts with yellow belts, green belts with green belts, because if there's a big oh, that'd be great. Because if there's too much of a gap, there'll be a lot of issues. There'll be a lot of issues in competition, and especially if in that gap you have friends, you have parents, siblings, whatever. It's just interesting to know, because what I'm saying is, like, as a teacher, so that like they were to go ahead and continue and develop even a friendship. If for some reason, and this is what I wonder, if she can't reach him, what will she do as the weird power dynamics that she already has? Do you think that she might just hate him, give up, go into nobility, try and become better than him in some way, or try and even like do something to be with him, stay with him? Because sometimes if you're ever in league with the pro or with someone that's really, really good at what they do, it feels like you drag people down, you know? Oh,
二人で出かけるとは聞いていたが。
ギレーヌ
you get drama, you get drama, you get drama. Everyone gets drama. This anime. Uh,
あ、はい、もういいですよ。
失敗か。まあ、失敗
I doubt it, dude. You got that white knight complex at the moment.
どうしようもない。死ぬ寸前だった。ギレーヌが来なければ間違いなく死んでいた。今まで考えもしなかったが、もし次に死んだら俺はどうなるのだろう。
Oh, dude.
特別にエリスって呼ぶことを許してあげるわ。特別なんだからね。
Oh.
ってことは
Oh.
つまり OK ってことですか？
Aren't weird,
どこで
avoidant, or
働いても
anxious
いいってこ
attachments
とですか？
cute?
ありがとうございます、エリス様。
様はいらないわ。エリスでいい。
さっきの選択肢で好感度が上がったのだろうか。それとも家庭教師にしてから仕返しでもするつもりだろうか。まあどちらにせよ、ひとまず今は生まれて初めての職に就けたことを喜んでおくとしよう。
Cool story, bruh. What can I say then, other than like, he seems like an individual who goes from an unhealthy attachment to another unhealthy attachment. Granted, they're kids and they should be learning about all the rules of boundaries and whatnot. And play, because that's how you learn more about yourself and about what's right and not right in any attachment setting. But like, when it comes to like these regards or certain regards in terms of like what it means for him, no, absolutely not, Masters. That was not a healthy environment for like rupture and repair. Reason being is because you're literally in a hostile environment where you got beat the fuck up. No, a healthy rupture and repair means that, like, one, you're not going to get physically hurt from it, and two, it's an environment where you can express yourself and be okay by expressing yourself. It's a well-written story. I think what this, because a lot of people will try and interject themselves as the main character, right? Yes, we agree. Oh, like it is a very well written story if you think about it through the MC, the main character's perspective, right? I.e., his soul comes from someone that was closed in, shut in for a long time, i.e., isolation issues, boundary issues, attachment issues, so on and so forth. But a lot of people nowadays have this weird trend where they try to put themselves where they try to put themselves in the story as the MC, and they're like, and I've heard this done to ReZero, where they're like, if I was Subaru, I wouldn't have died as many times. I would be able to do everything 100% speed run, no deaths. And it's like, no, you probably would have died from dysentery like a week after going into ReZero, without having anything. Or like with this MC, it's like, oh, I probably would have been able to do this. It's like, okay, well then let's talk about it. If your parents set up like didn't have any conversations with you whatsoever, and you know that like you're just normally speaking, you often hear your dad and a lot of his like hypersexual moments as well. How do you think you'd grow up? What boundaries do you think you'd have? So on and so forth. Just taking that out of perspective. And people have this weird main character complex. Like, don't get me wrong, you are the main character of your own narrative, of your own story, but don't try and interject yourself into other people's stories and still try to be the main character. Like, I don't know how to put it. Like, this is how you come across a lot of individuals, a lot of fake friends, for example, that come in, and if the world doesn't revolve around them, then you're wrong. You're toxic. You're the one that's not fitting into the narrative that they want you to fit, instead of you being your own independent person, and every single individual having their own storyline, their own situations, their own everything. It's critical. It is such a critical aspect to think about things in this perspective. Another big controversial issue, and I know people bring it up, is like, for example, the essay and other stuff in this show, particularly. Yeah, it's the main character syndrome. One of the exactly, dude, exactly, Nanosaj. One of the big things that like I'll point out is like So far, this show has brought it up in a way for it to be discussed. Like, I'm not saying it's good or bad, because regardless, you'll always know that, like, SA is bad, the DV is bad as well, any type of assault is bad. But how many times have we seen, for example, inverted roles? And I know I bring this up a lot, but it's really important that to bring it up, where it's like you have this really, really attractive individual that goes through and has like a harem of people with like no issue, or the only issue is like, oh, who are you gonna pick? And it's like, what the fuck? Or I don't know how to put it. Like mega chads that get everything they want, they're too OP, even the gods can't stop them, or some stupid like storyline like that. And tell me, in situations like that, what discussions, like discussions that can actually alter your life or make you think about things, i.e., such as like, trauma. Like this shows a perfect example of how to bring up trauma and have it be discussed. Now, I will say, and I've noticed this a lot, there are a lot of people who tend to deflect, project, and reflect a lot of the fucking things, the main points that should be discussed and criticized, and then to be like, no, but you're just reading it the wrong way. You see, they were only little kids when this happened, and this trauma in their life, and like you can't judge them for that way. And it's like, wait a second. Accountability. Like, first off, accountability in all regards. If you were like 14, 15, and essayed someone, guess what? You're a piece of shit. Like, no holding back, no holds bars, no nothing. Like, you got to work on yourself. You got to understand. Yeah, you got to understand that, like, the only actions that you should be having are with yourself in that regard. If you have a partner, you respect the boundaries that are put there, you respect the communication that you have, but you do not overstep those lines and boundaries that are set there. Why? Because, like, even as a kid, you're supposed to be told no. If you're not told no by society, you continue and you do some weird shit. You either DV or SA someone. Guess what? You have violated that principle, in which case, right, others can now look back at you and be like, what the fuck happened there? Age does not take away from your responsibility. Your trauma should not be another person's trauma as well. So please have that deep understanding of things. Like, for example, and this tends to be a case where, like, if you've been essayed in especially when it comes to like male population, I think there was a study done. Once I find it, I'll link it as well, where it's like, individuals, like male individuals who have been essayed as a child, tend to become, if they haven't processed their shit correctly, tend to have a negative schema, and therefore some tend to fall into the same pattern. It's like a cyclical pattern. Does that excuse their actions? No. Does it suck what happened to them? Absolutely. Does that excuse their actions for not working on themselves as they became adults? Fuck no. Absolutely not. And that's the number one thing that, like, a lot of people tend to have, like, I don't know how to put it. Like, for example, with Paul, last episode. That was not a cool move. Absolutely not a cool move. What he did kind of makes him a scumbag. People are like, oh, well, it happened when he was 11 or 12. This is for those of you that are wondering. I was mentioning this a little bit earlier on stream before this episode started about how, we have to be careful with spoilers and stuff, because some people really love to post paragraphs about some of their characters, and mods try their best, but you have to remember, this is the number one thing. But age is not an excuse, and trauma, like previous trauma base, is not an excuse. Sure. Blame, you did something that caused other people pain. Responsibilities, that pain that you caused, right? You've taken actions to try and better yourself and better whoever you caused pain to. Responsibilities are stuff that you have to do. Blame are stuff that you did that, caused pain to others. Big differences. Like, and that's the thing, is like, and that's the thing, is like, I don't know how else to put it. I always say that, yeah, geek me. That's exactly it. It's like, just because society was shit to you, fuck, society is horrible to a majority of people. Even like, most most individuals that aren't wealthy. Let's be honest. Society can be a fucking pain in the ass. But most normal people in society don't fucking pin it onto other people. You know? Twitter is not a real place, first off. Let me just get started with fucking Twitter. Just Twitter doesn't exist in my realm. I think that Twitter is just a soundbar for a lot of people to literally hide behind their screens and type shit to try and trigger other individuals. And quite literally, like, they'll try and take shit out of context and blow it up and be like, oh, you see, oh, yeah, like, yeah, that's the best way for me to put it. It's a Joker status there. But yeah, like my main regard is, I think that this story, like Mushoku Tensei, is bringing up a lot of good discussion points. I think that this show can trigger a lot of people, but for those people that do get triggered, they need to understand that just because a show comes out, if it does trigger you, you don't have to keep watching it. And I've said this before, and I'll reiterate it. No one is holding you accountable to watch something that triggers you. If I watch a show and it's giving me anxiety, I'll turn it off. I've even said this on here. If I watch a show and I don't like it and say that we're doing a reaction thing to it, I'm just going to drop it. Straight up. I'm sorry. I love you guys. But my boundaries are my boundaries. If I don't find it entertaining enough or worthy of a discussion, there's no point to it. There's nothing that you guys are going to gain. And at the moment, there's nothing that I'm gaining from this show as well. Like, not this show. This show's actually bringing up a lot of good areas of discussion. Because we've been at, like, how long since we've started talking about this show? Like, or since we started the reaction to this show? Like, probably over the hour, yeah? Oh, yeah, MTV. Yeah, it comes down to personal preferences, but I also feel like there's a big societal expectation and push as well, which is why sometimes you get a lot of people that like try and push you to like shows. Like, for example, I had a lot of friends that tried to push me to watch Demon Slayer or My Hero, and I was like, dude, I'm fucking busy. I ain't watching that shit. I ain't watching that shit until I have the time to actually like sit down and enjoy it. And like, like people will try and push their own ideologies, what they think is right and wrong based off of that show. And if you differ from that opinion, guess what? You're now going against the crowd and you're now bad. And it's this weird, uh, it's this weird societal based morality. That's the best way I can put it. But so far, I think that maybe this show, like some of the concepts, especially when it comes to like attachments, right? How many reactors or people that actually stop to talk about this on their first watch through have talked about stuff like this? Or Maslow's hierarchy of needs, specifically due to how characters interact with their environment. Bronfenbrenner's theory, defense mechanisms, the psychosexual development stages. Anyone? Even the business aspect of what it would take to run something, stuff like that. Well, it's not even being a psychologist. It's quite literally like just stopping to talk about the interaction and why people like, yeah, and why people like, how they're saying things, why they're saying things. Because sometimes you don't even need to be a good psychologist to be able to stop and talk about a scene, why it impacted you, how it impacted you, not just go, oh my gosh, the entire fucking time. Like that adds nothing to the discussion. Pixar, no one really. and like most, and I gotta be honest, and this is where I can kind of see it, especially with this show. Oh, please no. Especially with this, I don't really care for views. In case anyone ever tries to bring that up or anything like that, because overall, I think my content is for you to grow as an individual and be able to use some of these theories later on in your own personal life if need be. Even if you take a small portion, a small nugget of advice or something that we've talked about, and you're like, hey, yeah, maybe I should, like, for example, work on myself. Maybe maybe I have to start taking a little bit more responsibility for my actions, or maybe, you know, maybe I have to start thinking about maybe what my attachment style is, or maybe I should see a psychologist. If it's a small line or something like that that you take out of it, wonders, like wonders done. I'm never for the views. YouTube does trust me. Being a Twitch streamer or a YouTuber, you don't make a lot of money, and I'm not really here for the money at all. Like, it is all about like trying to introduce mental health concepts to people because mental health in general, the way it's been portrayed, the way that it's introduced into the general population, is generally incorrect. But yeah, and as for reactors, I can tell why a lot of reactors would probably be scared. Not even scared. It's like, for example, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know where boundaries are when discussing certain themes. You know? Like, if you were to bring up, say, the essay that happened, right? Just a general topic, hey, you know what? This makes me uncomfortable, or this is a concept that, like, whatever, uh, it's just imperative that there's more discussion around boundaries set and not just that was a really good episode, guys. 10 out of 10. Me, actually a little bit of everything. So one of the big things is, like, in case you guys don't also know, I have a degree in sociology as well. So I tend to analyze just movements, human behavior, as a whole. I tend to prefer individual just because I love knowing a little bit more about individuals. But mass migrations when it comes to human to political psychology or organizational psychology is always fun. No, don't take my dramatic face. Let me bring up something. I am researching something. Don't think I am gone. By the way, feel free to add us on Discord. That's where we have a lot of good discussion points. I'm bringing something up for YouTube and for the guys here, so we can talk about this. Go forward. I feel honestly, this might sound fucking ridiculous at some point, but I feel like if you watch the majority of my videos, um, you might be like you might be able to go to like a bachelor's level class or like some master's level classes and be able to do really fucking well. I'm not kidding. uh, it's like, oh, we're gonna talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You guys would be like, yeah, we know how to do that. Or like Brothenbrenner's sociological imagination. Ah, yeah, definitely. I mean, I know what that is. Oh, what about defense mechanisms? Ah, yeah, it's just like when Rudy did this, or psychosexual stages. Yeah, I remember that episode. I feel like you guys have like a whole thing there. Give me a second. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Where's it at? No. Where the fuck is it at? Sorry, guys. Um, um, by the way, Also, just good advice for anyone in there. If you ever go to a psychologist and they're only talking about holistic methods, leave. Like, or like they bring out a tarot card to do psychology on you. That's not a psychologist. Straight up. Please. Yeah, because or they throw like bones or whatever, dude. No, that's any psychologist is going to either do like at least a basic psychologist, cognitive behavioral, narrative, humanistic, dialectical, probably emotional based therapy, so on and so forth. Like, you know, but like if they bring something up and they're like, I'm a psychologist, and they're like not focusing on you in that aspect, then yeah. Damn, where's it at, dude? I'm trying to find a theory, but it's not popping up. Where is it? And I find it for you guys. I hope I do. No? Damn. Here we go. I just thought of a better one. Sorry, yeah, I know this is taking a while, but this is the only way that I can that I can probably tell this to you guys, and you guys be like, wait a minute. I mean, it technically goes back into it's the same thing I always talk about, but we're looking at it through a perspective. Okay, open this baby up. Here we go. Boys. Well, welcome to Family Systems and Brenner's Ecological Theory. We're doing this from Mushoku Tensei. Why? Because a lot of people tend to put too much fucking blame on a child instead of the parent. This is how one might look at a fleshed out thing, and this is sort of and this is how I do it for all characters I see, in case you guys are wondering how I do my other reactions, how I make predictions, or so on and so forth. I literally do one of these for every single character. And once you become, like, once you do these enough, like, especially, like, you start off writing it on paper, you can start doing it inside of your head almost instantly, where you can start going out and in and understand that it's like a ripple effect. I.e., if a child's age, if they get older, their influences might change out, and it might change in as well. So exactly, Professor. It goes everywhere. So one of the biggest things here is like this developing child. Let's go ahead and bring up. We're doing this. I don't give a shit, dude. I'm exhausted, but we're doing this because I'm tired. Okay. Fuck. Oh well, I can just zoom in. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and put this over here on the side, so you guys have access to that. I use a combo. All right, guys, let's get this started. We're doing this for Rudius, yeah, the developing child. How old is Rudius? And the reason why I'm doing this is so you guys understand where I'm coming from as I make predictions, especially to all you new Mushoku Tensei viewers, and you guys realize that this isn't a react channel. This is more of an analysis and how you're able to like see human interaction and relate to it and so on and so forth. Okay, Rudius is 7. He's male. Health-wise, we're going to go with physical health first. Would you guys say he's healthy? Physically? Yeah. As of this moment with the okay. Mental health. What do you guys think? This, for example, you can either say healthy, needs improvement, not healthy. Okay. No, we're taking him at 7. He's 7. Don't matter. Not healthy. All right. Okay, are his abilities, the way that his skills, are they within his years? Are they over or under? Are they, is his abilities related to a 7-year-old the same? Are they over or are they under? Very advanced. All right, I'd like that. Very advanced. There we go. I didn't even spell that word. God, that's how you know I'm fucking tired when I'm Parament? Yeah, dude. Fuck, dude. Okay, temperament. I don't care how it's spelled, even if I spelled it wrong. Wow. Wow. All right, temperament. I.e. his emotions, the way that he reacts. Is he reacting? Yes. Is he reacting the same way that most kids his age would react? Yes or no? Is he reacting under or over? Nah. I'm not only tired, I'm hungry. I'm like hungry tired. Okay. I'm gonna put over the age. How about big word for y'all? Emotional intelligence. How's his emotional intelligence? Low. Okay. Guess what? We've now developed the pink part of this circle. Round of applause, y'all. Round of applause. Good job. We've now developed some of the, like, and this is just like a quick ball. You can keep going by even adding in certain other things. You guys ready for the yellow? This is called a microsystem, yeah? Which mixes in with the mesosystem pretty well. Okay. Is he a part of any... I guess I'll put micro meso. Is he a part of any religion? As of the moment. By the way, not applicable is perfectly okay because we don't know. I don't know. As of this moment in this episode, I don't know. If they said it, I probably... Okay. Roxyism. Fuck it, dude. You know what? I'm putting it in there. I'm fucking exhausted. Roxyism. Okay, what about peer group? Does he have a lot of friends? His age? Yes or no? Or little? Nope. Okay, so then you can go ahead and say that it is limited. And you can even put a number. So his peer group is limited to 1. Exactly. The neighborhood that he grew up, is it a good neighborhood? Wow. Is it a good neighborhood? Does it need work? Is it poor? How is it? It's mostly farm, yeah? Like farm-based, yeah? From what we saw? Like it's not industrial like a huge ass city, you know? Agricultural, yeah. Normal village, yeah. Normal farm, village, whatever. Yeah, what about his school? Or his education? Low, mid, high. Why don't we separate that? Because technically for school, it is not applicable because he's trying to get to school. Yeah? But his education level, based on the anime, it's pretty high because he's doing processing work and other work that most people can't do. Okay. And inside of his home, yeah, this is where we're getting. Parent one, mom. Is mom healthy? So we can even tab it here. Mentally. As of this moment, from what's being shown. Is mom healthy mentally? Yep. Okay. Is mom healthy physically? For those of you that are watching this later on YouTube, just know that I am exhausted and I'm trying my best. Spelling mistakes will happen. Physically as well? Okay. What about emotionally? Emotionally, is she a capable mother? Yes. Yeah, but like issues happen and like you won't always like yeah, you like for example, issues you won't always be perfectly okay at everything. Like you'll have snags, like you might hurt your leg for a month or a week, and then it'll recover. So it'll go like that. But like I'm talking like for a grand period of the time that we've seen, have she been okay? And it looks like it. Okay. Oh, I guess another one I can throw in there because it's always important to go and ask. Is she responsible? Is she a responsible parent? Yes or no? You think so? Yes, no? Is she a responsible parent? That's exactly what I was talking about, Masters. That's what was crossing my mind. I was about to say, I mean, is she making sure that Rudius is fed every day, his needs are taken care of, physically, mentally, emotionally, and is she, that's the one I forgot. She is? Okay. Then is she a good caretaker? Is she enabling Rudius to have a secure attachment? Ah, so we're missing something, aren't we? Because I see some. Is she enabling? Because you have to remember, this is parent one. We're talking about the child. Our area of care in this set moment is the child. Is she a good caretaker? Because you're saying she's mentally good, physically good, emotionally good. She's responsible, but yet. Ah. So then maybe we've been giving her too much credit at the moment. Because this is what we got. Rudius just came in. He's 7. He's male. He's physically healthy, but mentally not healthy. He's very advanced for his age, and emotionally, he acts older than he is. His emotional intelligence, however, is very low. What do you guys get off of that? We're literally creating a case study of the family off of this. Immediately, what would come to mind is he's mentally not healthy. Does that mean he's having adjustment issues, which comes into the next area? We'll do a full breakdown at the end. I just wanted you guys to get a feel for it so you guys know. So then, is she a responsible parent? Let me go back up. Because you guys are saying, well, I mean, did she teach him about boundaries or play or what is acceptable and not acceptable? Or, to ask for help if you feel stuck or so on and so forth. Okay. I am confident to say no. So then, is she a responsible parent? Has she taught him or has he taught himself most things? Is she just because you can be a loving parent, but that doesn't make you responsible? Big difference. You can be a very caring, very endearing parent. That doesn't mean you're responsible. Okay. All right. I guess last but not least, I guess I should ask this. Is she her emotional intelligence? Is she emotionally intelligent? Before we get to parent two, is she emotionally intelligent? All right. Is it low, mid, or high? Mid. All right. We're going with mid. And by the way, in case you guys are wondering, we might have different opinions. You guys can do this on your own and put in your own belief systems and then trigger it accordingly and then see what the interaction might or might not be for in person in this case. Just in case you guys are like, huh, well, she is responsible. She is a good caretaker or whatever. And then you'll find out that, wait a minute, but this is not adding up with certain things that we stated at the beginning. There's a discrepancy here. Maybe something is wrong. You know? Oh, have a good night. It's been great having you here. Thanks for coming. Don't worry, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Okay, parent time. Or parent time. Parent two, dad. We're gonna go quickly. Mentally. Is he good? Yes, no, no. Okay. Physically, is he good? Emotionally, is he good? Is he responsible? Okay. Is he a good caretaker? Damn, you guys are going hard. Does he have good EIQ, emotional intelligence? No, of course not. Hey, look at that. We finished Parent 2 really, really quickly. Okay. And then you have, like, welcome to the exosystem. We're now in the orange. Congratulations, chat. You made it one up. Okay, exosystem. Do we live in, for example, do we live, I don't know how to put it. Do our parents have jobs? We live in a society. We live in a society. Yes, they have jobs. Okay. Um, do they have an education system there? A good education system? Yes or no? Oof, that's a tough one. Okay. Do they have a mode of transportation system there? Are they able to go ahead and get their needs met across the like this entire area? So, for example, do they have to wait a couple of days to be able to travel, or can they just get up and travel from one place to another? Okay, they have carriages. Perfect. Do they have shopping centers? Huge areas where they can go out and get their food without having to travel outside. Okay. I'm assuming that they probably barter with all the other, but not in the village. Okay, perfect. Not in the village. Um, does religion play a huge role in the village? No. Okay, perfect. Congratulations, we're at the final thing, the macro system. It doesn't look so. Okay. Economically, how is this village? Is it rich, poor, middle class? What do you guys think? This is based off of your opinion, by the way. Low, mid. I gotta say, I feel like the bigger city that we were just in, that's sort of rich. This village that we came from. It's like New York or like LA versus like Fresno or some of the other areas, you know? Which I think we could reverse that as well. All right, so we can go ahead and say mid. Economically, we're pretty mid. Um, politically speaking, are we in a monarchy? Are we in a democracy? What are we in? Let's take a random guess. It's fine. We can make this area up if we don't know the knowledge. Okay, it is a monarchy. Perfect. Not that it changes much, but it's just good to go ahead and have. Let's say that and for this, we can go ahead and say that, like, okay, so for this, for the dominant belief, it's like, are we more of a peacekeeping nation, war-keeping nation, so on and so forth. So for this, we're going to say NA. We don't know. I don't want to go ahead and go into it. And last but not least, time. All right, you guys ready? Oh, well, I guess we can go on and put that. Magic and swordsmanship. I want you guys to go ahead and read this because sometimes when we're watching a show or something, we don't really take into consideration how bad things can sound. Oh, actually, really good aspect I forgot to throw in there because it's always important to know, especially when you're doing an intake. Has parent one, has the mother been accused of a crime or been in the justice system? And same with parent two. They will always ask you if you're involved. The mother hasn't? Okay. So mother is good. What about the father? Father hasn't been accused of a crime or something that we would consider pretty fucking bad in our time. So we'll go ahead and put no for safety. Yeah, because we're looking at it through our lens, guys. We're not looking at it through their lens. We're looking at this through our lens. Yeah, we're looking. You have to remember, we're looking at this through our lens, through our perspective nowadays. So we're able to influence that more. Like we're able to have control. So I'm gonna put yes because through my lens, absolutely. Has he been accused? He's been a crime has happened. It just hasn't been reported. So we'll put NA just so that I can show you what I mean by this. Okay. Either or. All right, guys. So our case study, right? I want you guys to like, I don't know how to put it. Wash your brain for a second. Literally, like take everything away for un segundo. Fuck chat for a second. All right, let me push this way then. I think we just make it disappear. What the fuck? All right, you guys ready? So this is our case study. Let's go. So our client is Rudius. He's age 7. He's a male. He's physically healthy. Mentally, he's not healthy. His very advanced abilities for his age, he's able to go ahead and talk and do everything. His temperament is a lot more mature than those of his age. His emotional intelligence is really low. The reason he's come into therapy, and I'm going to go ahead and put this in there, is because of, let's say, hypersexuality. He's very, very hypersexual for his age. All right. So why don't we go ahead and dive into it a little bit? He is not religious, or it's Roxyism, which is an extreme crush on someone that he knows. He has one friend. He lives in a agricultural farm village. He hasn't gone to school, but his understanding of educational concepts are pretty high. And do you guys see anything wrong with this? Nothing so far? Yeah. His mom is mentally, physically, and emotionally stable. However, she is not responsible when it comes to attending to Rudius's needs, as he does not have a good attachment, and as a caretaker as well. Her emotional intelligence is mid, and she has not had any crime whatsoever. His dad is mentally has a lot of stuff he needs to work through. Physically, he's as fit as a fiddle. Emotionally, he's not there exactly. Responsibility and caretaker wise, not necessarily, as he seems to punch and kick and go a little hard on his child. Best way for me to put it. And his emotional intelligence is not there. Okay, so then maybe there's something there that caused the hypersexuality. Let's keep going, guys. Maybe there's a difference, right? What about the parent? Do the parents have jobs? Yeah, they do. Okay. Do they have an education system where they're at? No. So there's no education system. So you can't go to school. So you can't really do. Okay. Is there a way to get around town? Okay, there's carriages, right? Is there shopping centers, interaction centers? Not in the village. And what about religion? There's no immediate church or anything like that. Okay, economically it's mid, so you can kind of tell that they come from either a mid to rich family. Cool. They're in a monarchy, and their main beliefs is on magic and swordsmanship, and time is ever present. So, where comes the issue of hypersexuality? Yeah, and that's how you can tell them. With the kid. I was looking at this. Where does the issue come up? So it seems like mom, for the most part, is doing a good job. However, it seems as though, if we gave her an assessment and she didn't meet these particular areas here, there might be something there. But look at dad. Mentally, there might be a little bit of projection. He might not even know what it is appropriate to raise a kid, or what you should and should not teach him just based off of that. There's no education system, so he doesn't really can go to school. I mean, even with religion, a big religious center in the village, maybe that could help him out with morals. Okay, you guys got level 1 feeling for what I do with every character. Here's where it becomes interesting. Time. As I mentioned before, everything in here affects one another. If there's a big impact in, say, the educational system, that they start inputting schools, say like a year passes, and for some reason this monarchy is like, hey, we're going to put a school every single place. We're going to make sure every village has, a big church. Boom. Educational system. Boom. Guess what? That goes down to here to school. School affects the home. The home affects the child because now he has to go to here, which affects that, which brings into the effect the total country that's here. Oh, wait. Here's a religion. We're putting a church as well, which talks about, morality and whatnot, which guess what? It can increase this peer group, which affects the child. Oh, the biggest thing of all, time. Say that 7 years pass or 8 years and he turns 15. Say that his parents are no longer there. Boom, boom. You take these away. Guess what that affects immediately? That affects his home. Who he defines as home. Who he defines as either schoolmates, workmates, whatever. Who he surrounds himself with, his groups, how he might even view religion, because it goes out as well. And it affects him. You guys get the feeling for what I'm talking about here? Or am I just fucking insane? But no, this is how a psychologist views the general themes and how one would go ahead and look at something like this and see the impact of like, hey, you know what? The parent might have some issues here, which is going to directly affect the household and is going to direct his educational setting, which guess what? Yeah, as a kid, that affects all of this. Yeah, guys, level 2 is you literally take time and you start putting in like, for example, if we change from carriages to say, okay, even better. If we change from carriages that run once every day to go to the capital to carriages that run once an hour to the capital, or to like a different city, or to like, a major like import like sauce or anything like that. What does this do? Just take it into consideration, right? If it runs every hour, guess what? There's more interactions in the neighborhood, which means more people coming in. More people coming in means that there's going to be a lot more religiosity that are coming in, and it creates a religious hierarchy inside of this community, which means that you're probably going to have more mass media that comes in, or media to try and convert individuals. You're going to have more people that are going to try and shop there, which puts in, again, more people. More people coming in creates a bigger neighborhood, which a bigger neighborhood creates, guess what? A need for educational systems in schools, which also creates a need to go ahead and have a more self-governing positions inside of this village, which overall will start affecting your parents' workplace, your home, and you. Dun-dun! Level 3 is when you start meshing 3, 4 of these at the same time, i.e. you do, like, let's say you do one, everything affects everything else in and out. So like, let's say that you have Subaru here, right? You do one for Subaru and everything there. You do one for Emilia, and then you ping the barrel going down and up on both of them. And then like, let's say we'll do Mushoku Tensei. We'll do Paul. Right? Though with Paul you can go ahead and take pretty much this away and just put Paul. Or we can keep Rudius and we'll do Rudius and his mom for that reason. Or Rudius and Paul. Let's say that like there's a huge separation issue between both of them. It's not just shopping center, it's how would I put it? Markets. It's I don't put it like just shopping in general. Being able to create commerce. I guess commerce is the world. Yeah, because commerce brings economy. It makes the world run. The bigger a commerce center, the more individuals that you're going to go ahead and have in there. But if this is Rudius, and then you do it with like, let's say Paul, and they have a huge separation issue. Okay. Instead of this being the developing child, this would more than likely be family. The chrono system is just time. So the chrono system in general is like advanced at 17 years from now. We're doing it here. I'm bringing it. We're doing it 17 years from now, or fuck it, 40 years from now. It would no longer be about the parents. It would literally, or 17 years, fuck it. Rudius is now 24 years old. Let's see, does this change anything? He's 24. He's male, physically healthy. Mentally, he's not healthy. His abilities are very advanced, or I would say at this point it'd probably be mid if he just stayed at the way that he is now. But very advanced, and temperament is over the age. Emotional intelligence is low. Does that change anything for you guys? I'll tell you what, if I heard of 24-year-old that told me that mentally they're they're having mental health issues and their emotional intelligence is low, do you want to know what I'm going to think immediately? He had issues as a child. There was attachment issues. There was something fucked up. Probably not a secure environment for them. Probably not an environment for them to be able to grow and learn how to empathize. You might be on the spectrum. You have 101 scenarios that you can go ahead and pick from, but a majority of them stem from childhood. If we're just doing it on Rudius. If we're doing it on anyone else and see that everything was okay, but then you go into crime, then you can start looking into the parents, see if anything had changed between that time period, and so on and so forth. Anyway, with that being said, I hope this kind of makes sense to you guys. I really appreciate all of you guys being here. We've been on for a long time. I love every single one of you guys. Practice some self-care. That was a wild ride. Was it too much? I know it can be overwhelming at times.